All right, so what's this story, Grandpa?
Well, you wanted me to tell a story about the first time I ever rode a freight train.
Yeah.
It was my cousin come and stay with us because him and his mother didn't get along.
What was your cousin's name?
R.T. Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And his mother was my Aunt Ethel, was my dad's oldest sister. No, next to the oldest. Aunt Reth was the oldest. Anyhow, why he come and stayed with us and lived with us about a year or two. And him and I used to, and Lindy and Joel, we used to highway to town and go to the show. Well, this one time, him and I went to town together, and we got over there and we went to the show and stayed till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and we got out on the road to catch a ride. Well, nobody picked us up, and it's about sundown, and he said, we ain't gonna get no ride home. Said, let's just catch, we was there by the railroad tracks, and he said, let's just catch a freight train and ride down to my mother's. Said she lives down in Warrika, about 80 miles from Chickasha.
Which is what state?
Oklahoma.
Mm.
Anyhow, I said, I don't know. We better go on home because Mom and Dad be worried about us. And he said, I said, they'll think we slept in the barn somewhere or in a haystack. Said, they won't care. Said, we'll come back tomorrow. And I thought, well, it'd be pretty exciting to ride a freight train. So I agreed we'd go ahead and ride. So we went out and caught a train and went out to Warrika. And on the way down there, we was on a flat car. And there was a big old wheel up there, and he got a hold of that wheel, and he went to turn it, and I said, what's that for? He said, that unconnects us from the train.
Oh.
And I said, boy, don't fool with that. We don't want to get unconnected. I said, another train come by and hit us, and we'd be in a big lot of trouble. So anyhow, he laughed. He said, no, that won't do nothing. So we got on down to Warrika, and it was about 8 o'clock at night, I guess. And we hadn't eaten since lunchtime. So we walked up to his mother's house about 3 or 4 blocks from the railroad tracks. And we got there and we told her we hadn't eaten, so she fixed us something to eat. And we sat around and visited for a long time and talked to her and her husband. She was married to a guy named Bill King, I think was his name. Anyhow, they was taking care of this old man. He's about 80 years old, and he was in the bed there in the living room.
And what year was this?
1938. So, anyhow, she didn't
I'm sorry, Grandpa. How old were you?
I was 14.
Okay, go ahead.
And she didn't have no extra bed. Just had his bed and the bedroom that they slept in. So she fixed us that night about 11 o'clock, she fixed us a little pallet on the floor to sleep on the foot of this old man's bed down on the floor. And so we went to bed that night, and her husband went in and got this old man's medicine and gave to him. It looked like a glass of milk. So we went ahead and went to bed then, and they went to bed, and we was laying there, and this old man, he breathed real loud. You could hear him all over the place. And we was laying there, and R.T. told me, he said, I ain't going to be able to sleep any of that old man breathing that way. He said, keep me awake, I can't sleep. And I said, yeah, I said, that bothers me too. And we laid there and talked a little while, and pretty soon the old man gasped real hard. Then we didn't hear nothing for about a minute or two. And R.T., my cousin, said to me, he said, I think that old man died. And I said, yeah, I said, I can hear him breathe. And he got up and turned the light on and went in and woke his mother up, told her to come in there, and they come in there and examined him, and sure enough, he was dead. So they called the hearse, and the hearse come and picked him up. And she went and took the sheets off his bed and put clean sheets on there and told us to get on that bed and sleep that night. We had a bed to sleep in, you know. And so we got in the bed, and they went on the bed. It was about 1 o'clock then. And so we laid there a little while, and we was talking, and R.T. said, you know, said, I'm not going to be able to sleep. Said, knowing that old man just died on this bed. And I said, yeah, it is kind of spooky, ain't it? But we finally, I think, went to sleep about an hour later. We talked a long time. But anyhow, the next day, why, we got up, and Aunt Ethel fixed a breakfast. And she fixed us a lunch to take with us to go home. And she said to me, said, do you need any of this old man's clothes? And I said, well, I don't know. I said, I ain't got very many. And she said, well, he's got a coat here, nice coat, nice shoes. Well, his shoes and the coat just fit me.
Nice.
Yeah, he was a small guy, wasn't very big. Anyhow,
And you were 14.
Yeah, I was 14, and I got the new pair of shoes and a new coat out of it. I took it home. And we rode home the next day and got Chickasha, and then we got a ride out to Dibble, about 15 miles. And we got home, it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And Mom and Dad, they worried about us, but they said they knew wasn't nothing happened to us because we were too mean for anybody to bother us. So anyhow, well, that was the story of the first freight train I ever rode.
Nice.